Hello everyone. I wanted to do this video because I noticed that many people have a stiffness in their voice or some sort of constriction in their voice while speaking as well as while singing. And often it is noticed in children. I am going to demonstrate what it sounds like, and then I will demonstrate how it is supposed to sound, how the voice is supposed to sound, and then I will explain why it happens, and finally we'll talk about the solutions. Often you will hear somebody speaking like this. Inside our mouth, if we think of it as a room, we have a ceiling, which is the soft palate, and we have the floor, where we have the tongue. Now, in order to make a very nice and rounded resonant sound, the space inside the oral cavity has to be maximized, and it can be done by raising the ceiling and by lowering the floor. So we need to keep the soft palate raised at all times except for pronouncing the nasal vowels and consonants, and we need to keep the floor lowered by keeping the back of the tongue relaxed and lowered. Now what happens, sometimes our soft palate is still up, that is, we are not getting any nasal sound, but the sound that we are generating is not very rounded and resonant. So it sounds something like this. It's not nasal, but at the same time it's still not resonant. When we ask someone to do ah, it comes out as ah, ah, e, oo, eh. The problem here is the back of the tongue is stiff and raised, thus reducing the space inside the oral cavity. Solution: first of all, we need to understand that we have this issue. One way to understand is to record ourselves and listen to the recording. The other option is to go to an experienced voice teacher who can actually hear you and tell if there is any issue with the tongue. And then when you have the feeling of both the situations, that is, when the back of the tongue is stiff and raised, and when the back of the tongue is all relaxed and lowered, when you know the feeling of both the situations, then when you get that stiffness, you can fix it yourself by doing certain exercises. These are all relaxation exercises. One exercise is you take your tongue out of the mouth. It looks very silly, but it works. Right? The other exercise, very similar. You make some silly faces just to relax the tongue. Once again, I'm going to briefly describe the sound that we get when we have the problem and the sound that we get when we do not have the problem. So when we have the problem, we sound like this, and there is not enough resonance. It's not nasal, but it sounds kind of stiff and constricted. When we have our tongue relaxed, we will have a resonant sound. So I hope that you find this video helpful. Thank you very much for watching.